In a world filled with countless narratives of love and ambition, there are stories that reveal a darker truth, the subtle erosion of self when love collides with pride. This is one such story, a tale not of a woman's strength to stand alone, but of her journey to reclaim her peace in a marriage bound by ego and a man whose self-absorption overshadowed the quiet grace of a humble life. Join me, let's plunge into the story. When Neka met Obidike, he appeared as the perfect match, handsome, intelligent, and respected by all who knew him. To Neka, he was a dream come true. With every compliment he gave her, every grand gesture, she believed she had found a man who would cherish her forever. But little did she know, behind his charming exterior was an ego that would slowly tighten its grip on her world. In the early days of their marriage, Obadiah showered her with affection, ensuring she felt adored. He promised a life full of luxury, security, and happiness. Necker, in return, devoted herself fully to the marriage. But soon the cracks began to show. His love was conditional, tethered not to mutual respect, but to an unrelenting need to be admired and exalted above all. As days turned into months, Necker began to feel the subtle shifts in their dynamic. Obidik, once so attentive, began to withdraw. His conversations became more about his accomplishments, his triumphs, and his desires, while her voice, once filled with dreams and aspirations, grew quieter. Obidik's dominance in every conversation, every decision, slowly muted Necker's presence in her own life. The house they shared became a reflection of his ego, luxurious yet empty. Necker was constantly reminded of her place, not as an equal partner, but as a supporting character in Obidike's narrative. His pride demanded that she submit, that she remain small to let his greatness shine. The silence between them deepened, a chasm that neither could bridge. Before her marriage, Neka was a woman of joy. Her voice, soft and melodic, carried the beauty of her spirit. She sang in the mornings, danced in the evenings, and shared her heart with the world. But now, in the shadows of Obidike's towering ego, Neka's songs were silenced. Every note she attempted was met with indifference or worse, scorn. Her husband's words were sharp, dismissing the beauty of her expressions as unworthy. "Your singing distracts me," he would say, his voice cold. "Focus on what is important." And so Neka stopped. She locked her songs inside, allowing her spirit to wilt under the weight of her husband's relentless pursuit of greatness. Neka's world became smaller with each passing day. She watched from the sidelines as Obidike thrived in the public eye, his accomplishments praised, his name spoken with reverence. But Neka was no longer seen as a partner in this life. She was a mere accessory, a quiet figure in the background of his self-made empire. When they attended events or gatherings, Obidike stood tall, surrounded by admirers, while Neka remained in the shadows, her presence barely acknowledged. He would boast loudly of his successes, belittling her accomplishments, claiming that his achievements were the only ones that mattered. In a crowd of people she became invisible. In the center of their home, Neka kept a cherished artifact, a family heirloom passed down through generations, a symbol of the strength and unity of her ancestors. It was a calabash, beautifully adorned, a reminder of the love that had once been at the core of her family's values. But one afternoon, when Obedika decided to move it, the calabash slipped from his hands and shattered on the floor. The sound echoed throughout the house. Neka gasped, but Obidik only shrugged. "It was just a symbol," he said, his dismissive tone cold. "What's important is that I am the foundation of this home. My name, my success, is what truly matters." Neka stood in silence, the broken pieces of her past scattered before her. In the quiet of the evening, Neka sought counsel from an older, wiser woman, someone who had seen the true cost of pride in relationships. This woman, once married to a man whose ego mirrored Obadiki's, spoke to Neka with kindness and understanding. "Pride," the woman said, "is a dangerous force. It builds walls between hearts and blinds people to the very things that make life meaningful. When a person loves only themselves, they forget to love the one beside them." Neka listened, absorbing the wisdom like a sponge. In her heart, she knew the truth of the woman's words. Her husband's ego had poisoned their marriage, but she also knew that she still had the power to change her own path. One evening, as the sun set and the room grew dim, Neka made a decision. She would no longer remain silent. She would confront Obidike, speak her truth, and reclaim her voice. With trembling hands, she turned to him and gently spoke. "I ask for only three things," she said. "Let me sing. Let me visit my family. Let me keep the things that matter to me close." Obidike, who had long believed that he was the center of their world, looked at her with confusion. "I will give you three things," he replied, his voice cold. "First, my rules. Second, my silence. And third, my greatness." His words echoed with the arrogance of someone who believed that love was a one-way street. Neka felt the sting of his response, but deep inside she knew that the battle was just beginning. Determined to find her own strength, Neka embarked on a journey of self-discovery. She sought solace in nature, in the simple beauty of the world that Obidike had dismissed. She found peace in the river, in the wind, and in the songs of birds. She realized that she did not need Obidike's permission to live fully. She had a voice. She had a purpose. With each step she took, Neka became more certain that she had the power to change her life. She returned home with a renewed spirit, determined to live authentically, regardless of Obidike's desires. The path ahead would not be easy, but she was no longer afraid of walking it alone. As Neka's strength grew, so too did the changes around her. She began speaking openly about the issues in her marriage, sharing her story with others. People listened, and soon the whispers spread. Obidike's pride, once a shield that protected him from criticism, now became a liability. Those who had once admired him began to see through the facade. It wasn't long before Obidike noticed the shift. His confidence wavered as Neka's voice grew louder and more powerful. He could no longer stand in the shadows of his own ego. For the first time he felt the weight of his actions. He began to question his own worth, realizing that greatness built on the foundation of pride could never sustain itself. The turning point came during a public event. Neka, standing tall and confident, was asked to speak. Obidike, once the center of attention, watched as his wife took the stage. Her words were powerful, resonating with the truth that many had been too afraid to speak. For the first time, he saw her as the woman she truly was, a force of nature in her own right. In that moment something shifted within him. The pride that had once consumed him began to crumble, and he realized that Neka's strength was not a threat to his own greatness. It was a reminder that true power lies not in domination, but in mutual respect and understanding. Obidike, now humbled, began to change. He moved away from the grandiosity that had once defined him and began to listen more intently to Neka. He sought her advice, acknowledged her worth, and slowly worked to repair the damage that his ego had caused. The process was not easy, but it was necessary. Neka, though cautious, began to see glimpses of the man she had once loved, the man who had once promised her a life of shared dreams. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And for the first time in a long time, Neka felt that peace was possible in their home. In the end, Neka and Obidike's story was not one of a perfect marriage, but of growth and transformation. They learned that love, when tempered with humility and respect, can overcome even the most towering egos. Obidike, once blinded by pride, now understood the true meaning of greatness. And Neka, who had once been silent, had found her voice. Their marriage, now grounded in equality and understanding, was a testament to the power of change. Together they created a home not built on ego, but on mutual respect, love, and the quiet strength of two people who had learned to walk side by side rather than one towering above the other.